What's up, everybody? Welcome to After the Final Whistle, football talk with Jon and Montel. Welcome to episode 3 of After the Final Whistle, football talk with Montel and Jon. I'm Montel. I'm one of our hosts. Our co-host is Jon. What's going on with you, Jon?
Not much, man. Not much. I hope everyone had a good week. A lot of good games this last week. A lot of good games.
Yeah, I agree. We'll talk about some of those a little bit later, including you almost nailing a score for one of the games, right? Pretty damn close, right?
Pretty close. I definitely got that upset called, if you want to call it an
So,
upset.
yeah, I mean, it was a good game. What you got for the injury report this week?
Some of the bigger injuries. Christian McCaffrey uh, going out with the hamstring on that Thursday night game last week, but it seems like it's not too serious. They didn't put him on IR, so they're expecting him back within 1-2 weeks. Um, the Steelers wide receiver core getting banged up. Saw earlier that today Deontay Johnson and Juju Smith were full participants in practice. Claypool is still dealing with hamstrings, a hamstring issue. AJ Brown and Julio Jones both out with hamstring issues. Sterling Shepard and Darius Slayton out with, I believe it's also hamstrings. Dalvin Cook looked like he's coming back after hurting his ankle a couple weeks ago, or was that last week? I know it was recent.
It was a week before last, late in the game. J.J. Watt twisted his ankle
Okay, so
on a tackle.
it seems like he's coming back from that. Looked like he was a full participant in practice earlier today. So a lot of big injury issues, especially hamstrings, knocking out what feels like entire wide receiver cores, but got some players coming back too.
Man, literally like almost every wide receiver you named, I have on a fantasy team, pretty much. The only one I don't anymore is Juju, and I dropped him because he was doing absolutely nothing.
Right on, right on. So, what news do you have for around the league?
Well, I want to talk about this first one a little bit. You remember how a couple weeks ago, well, it's probably about a month now, they were talking about Jamar Chase having problems catching the ball because the ball doesn't have stripes on it like in college?
I do remember that story about a
He
month
just,
ago. Yeah.
he just got the freaking AFC Offensive Rookie of the Month. So I guess that the ball issue's gone away. I mean, every game he's played, he's had, I think, at least like 60 yards. So he's doing good, better than what people thought he would do based on his performance in the preseason. Next thing I got, they announced the Super Bowl halftime show, and I'm excited for it. Honestly, I haven't been excited for one in a long time. It's going to be Dr. Dre, Snoop, Eminem, Mary J. Blige, and Kendrick Lamar. Uh, I can't believe they allowed like this much hip hop, I guess, royalty to kind of headline the show. Especially, I know this isn't like it's not a race thing, but most of the players are black, that are in the NFL. So you would think they would have kind of blended hip hop a little bit more, I guess, earlier in the, I guess, 2010s or 2000s. So, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm just wondering, with all that talent on one stage, like uh, what the collaboration is going to be like. Um,
I watched like an interview, and Dre and Snoop, I assume, are going to kind of headline it more so than the others because um, when they were playing the interview or whatever, one of their songs is playing in the background. So maybe kind of like a sneak peek into it. But yeah, I think it'll be a good show. I haven't really watched the halftime show in a while because I'm just never interested in who's performing.
yeah, so I'm most definitely looking forward to it. Like I said, yeah, with all those superstars, just the collab was my biggest thing on how they were going to showcase each artist.
Yeah, and I don't know. I think it'll kind of be maybe a collab with Dr. Dre and Snoop, and I really don't know what the other three are going to do. It's an odd number, it's five, so it's not like you can do three different collaborations, right? So it'll probably be like uh, collab, and solo, or maybe just like a big show. I don't know. It'd be cool. I mean, I'm interested to see how they work all that out. Especially, I'm a big hip hop fan, and I'm a fan of most of the artists. I don't listen to a lot of Mary J. Blige. Not my forte, but she's a legend nonetheless. So
Exactly, exactly.
I guess the next thing I got, I don't know if you heard about this, but it I need you to hold on to your pants here. Robert Kraft, in a book called "It's Better to Be Feared," he calls Bill Belichick the biggest fucking asshole in my life. So I was reading that, and I don't know, man. I thought from the outside looking in that they had a pretty decent relationship. I don't know if that's just like a clickbait title that they had in the article or whatever, but I guess it's true. Nobody likes Belichick, including the guy that employs him. But after six Super Bowls, you can't really complain about that too much. So
I did kind of catch a little bit of that. Yeah, but it is kind of crazy. You have Tom Brady as your quarterback for like 2020 to like 2019, when like six Super Bowls in that time, and then the moment he goes to another team, you have a losing season. Um,
right.
I know there wasn't a ton of talent on the Patriots the past couple years, but
Man, it's probably been like five or seven. The only talent really was Brady finding these open. They had like four or five slot receivers on their team every year, and he just finds the open man, and he made it work. So I don't know if it's more a product of Belichick being a good coach or looking up and getting Tom Brady in like the sixth round and Drew Bledsoe getting hurt.
only time will tell. We'll see what Sunday brings with that return to New England for Tom.
The last thing I got, you probably heard Richard Sherman had like I guess a mental breakdown, and I guess he's trying to break into his father-in-law's house, right? He signed with the Buccaneers. He said he's all better. What do you think about that sign? Do you think it's worthy of? I don't know. Let me rephrase. Do you think Sherman's worthy of being signed to the NFL after having that big? I call it a disgrace. Really, he's literally trying to break the door down. I don't know what the uh, issue he's having was, but he said he's gotten help. What are your thoughts on him actually getting back in the NFL?
I mean, I hadn't heard any of that, but man, I don't know. If he's gotten help or in the process of getting help, I mean, because you know, you got to have your mental health as strong as your physical health. So if he's getting up for that, great for him. I mean, he definitely isn't as a superstar as he was whenever he was in Seattle, but does he deserve a chance? I mean, only time will tell. But I mean, if he says he's better, shows that he's better, and keeps himself in line, kind of as crazy as it sounds like Antonio Brown has, then sure he deserves a chance. But like I said, only time will tell.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not being biased here, but really, I personally think Sherman was always like overhyped. Um, he only ever played on one side of the field. He never traveled like Darrelle Revis or like that. He's a cover three corner, so he was never, in my mind, like one of the best corners just because he didn't travel. But there might be someone who disagrees with that, but that's just my personal opinion. I don't think he was ever as good as what he was made out to be. But hopefully he works out. I mean, uh, I I've dealt with some mental health issues in my life as well, so hopefully he gets himself straightened away. And like you say, yeah, only time will tell. I hope he just has gotten help. All right, let's see. What else do I have? I think that's all the news I have for this week. I guess we'll move on to fantasy.
Before we go to fantasy, one last thing we need
Yeah,
to bring
absolutely.
up. Uh, the what's going on in Chicago?
Matt
They
Nagy is incompetent.
they had 68 passing yards, and Justin Fields got sacked for like 67 yards. So they had like one net passing yard for the entire game.
Yeah, they don't invest in their offensive line, and their coach is I don't he runs the dumbest offense I've ever seen. Like if you look at like the percentage of routes that Allen Robinson runs like away from the line of scrimmage, I think like 60 or 70% of the routes that he runs are within like 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. Your best receiver never runs further than 5 yards from the line of scrimmage. It's kind of stupid. I just think he's kind of incompetent as a coach. And they're the NFC North, so I don't really feel any sympathy for the Bears at all. But yeah, what was it?
I don't.
Who's the kicker for? Oh, go ahead. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I don't have sympathy for him either because my team's also in the NFC North. But like, just from a confidence standpoint for your rookie quarterback, like you do nothing to move him out of the pocket because he's a mobile quarterback in college. Like,
Hmm.
I just in that aspect, I just feel bad for Justin Fields.
Yeah. The Bears and the Texans have this like I won't call it a fallacy, but they have this thing where they break quarterbacks, because they draft these quarterbacks high, they don't put anything around them, and I don't know about you, but I wouldn't want to get hit, or actually, I don't want to hit sacked 60 times in a season for 5 years, and they become gun shy. They pump fake and they want to take off running because they don't want to risk getting sacked. So yeah, I
That
think
or kind of like
their line is trash.
yeah, that and kind of like Sam Darnold in on the Jets when he said he was seeing ghosts.
Yeah, when he was playing against, I think the Patriots, right?
I don't remember what after that game. He just wasn't the same on that team.
No, and I guess we'll talk a little bit more about that too. The Jets, uh, ever since Rex Ryan left, a few years ago, they haven't really had much stability either. He's probably had two or three offensive coordinators, and he's been in the league 2 years. So it's hard to get your feet up under you when the offense is never the same. Yeah, Nagy for the Bears though. I would hate to be a Bears fan, to be honest. They have this great defense and they're wasting it because their offensive play calling is inept. So yeah, like I said, no sympathy, but I do feel bad that their great defense is being wasted by a dumb head coach.
Exactly.
And then
Same.
uh, who was it from Baltimore? Right, had almost more yards like on a field goal. Who was that kicked that field goal than the Bears like entire offense did on Sunday?
Justin Tucker kicked a 66-yard field goal, NFL record as of right now.
And the Bears had what, like 1 or 2 yards more offense than when he kicked on the field goal. Now, I don't know about you, but I personally find that kind of hilarious. Just because the Bears are so bad.
I mean, yeah, I mean that is laughable that your offense basically almost got beat by a field goal kicker. But at the same time, if Tucker would have missed that field goal, uh, we'd be talking about the Lions beating Baltimore.
Yeah, and there's some other stuff that happened in that game as well. There's a conspiracy out there that Baltimore was allowed to run a play even though the play clock hit zero. So pretty much the rule is the back judge, which is the guy behind the offense, if the play clock hits zero, he looks up at the play clock and then looks down to see if the ball was snapped, right? And it's usually like a one Mississippi bang kind of deal. And it was more like for the Ravens on that day, it was more like a one Mississippi, two Mississippi, three Mississippi. And this is after clocks hit zero, and then they snap the ball. So not to feel bad for the Lions or anything, but they probably did get cheated a little bit just because of the Ravens being the more popular team right now. So
Oh, that, and I mean, even with that, the Ravens still almost lost. So, let's give it up for the Lions. Like I said last week, they fight and they're in every game. They could just put 4 quarters together.
Yep, or kept Matt Stafford. Just saying.
I don't know. I don't know if Matt Stafford, with the amount of talent that's on the team right now, would be doing much better than Goff is, to be
Man,
honest.
Jared Goff is complete ass. If I'll say this, if Matt Stafford had played in, let's say, like Green Bay or New England and putting up the same kind of numbers, people would probably be talking about him being like a Hall of Fame quarterback. But because he played for Detroit and literally had what, like 5 years of prime Megatron, he has had nothing else in Detroit. So no disrespect to Jared Goff, but I'm a Matt Stafford guy, even though I'm not a Lions fan. I feel like they did him dirty, but hopefully he wins the Super Bowl with the Rams. That's
And
kind of
Matt
my thinking.
Stafford, yeah, Matt Stafford put the Lions on his back when he was there. And he's been looking fantastic in LA.
Yeah, and I think, uh, yeah, he'll make that offense a lot more, like, I guess, explosive than what Jared Goff did. I think Jared Goff was getting kind of getting timid as well. Was kind of scared to throw the ball down the field. Stafford's got that far Rodgers mentality where he's gonna sling that pill. So,
Right.
and I guess moving on, we'll go talk about fantasy. How you doing fantasy this week?
So I succeeded in redemption this week for you. I knocked off the team
We
that you
can't say
lost
his
to
name on
last
there.
week. Um, Another Monday Night Miracle. I needed like 24 points to win from Zeke, and like in the first like half, he had like 25. So,
Is a wing and a prayer, my guy.
yeah, and finally got a win in the Just for Fun League after losing the first 2 weeks by a combined score of 0.44.
Yeah, your point differential is literally, I think, like 2 total points. Actually, it went up this week. You have a point score of 376 and points against at 342. The last week, I think it was like 270 to like 269. It was dumb close.
Yeah. So I'm just thankful for the 2 wins. Um, I wish I had a better start to the week in this week's fantasy because it would be nice to beat you this week.
I mean, we're tied right now. What is it? Friday, October 1st, and then the score is currently 13-13. So we're
Yeah, we're
tied.
tied right now.
My points came from my receiver. I think yours came from my running back, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, it'll be a close game. I don't think it'll be a blowout like my opponent this week. I beat him 187 to 140. Second highest ever score in our league. I lost to the guy who had the first with 188. So that was week one. 1 and 2 in the money league we play money in. In our fun league, I beat my opponent by 50, so I'm 1 and 2 in that league and 1 and 2 in the other league as well. So I think I can make a playoff push here. I mean, I know what is it, like week 3, week 4 in the NFL. I'll make a playoff push. I mean, I usually always make the playoffs or get close if I don't make the playoffs. So I'm happy. 1 and 2, kind of like the Vikings. I started off 1 and 2, so hopefully we put some dubs together and win this thing, at least one of them.
Yeah. As long as your dubs start, you know, stacking up after this week, I'll be fine.
Nah, I got to catch a body this week. I'm sorry.
Got it.
I can't call it a
We'll
homicide, but I'd like to commit a homicide in fantasy.
we'll see. We'll see. When we play each other, it's typically pretty good games. So
Yeah, usually pretty close. I mean, I don't think there's only been one blowout across two leagues. Was it like 25 games or something? So we'll see. I mean,
Yeah.
either way, it good game, and I don't know. We're not gonna have any challenges this go around, but maybe we'll agree to something later down the road as far as like a challenge who wins the next one.
Yeah. We can talk about it, see what we come up with.
Some torture, you know. All right. So let's talk about some of these predictions from last week. So, do you want your overall record first, or just the record from last week first?
We can do overall and then go into last week.
Okay. So overall, you're sitting at 4-1. So 4 games right, 1 game wrong. Your record last week, perfect 3-0. Your prediction for the Chargers playing the Chiefs, 33-30. Actual score, 30-24. There's another level to this. Your prediction for the Colts at Titans, Titans 24, Colts 10. Actual score, Titans 25, Colts 16.
Almost got that one right too. Damn.
Yeah, they're pretty close. Yeah. Uh, your other one, you had Packers 49ers. The score is not quite as close, but it's still pretty good. Prediction was 24-21 with the Packers taking the win. The actual score was Packers 38, 49ers 28. No, sorry, Packers 30, 49ers 28. So a little closer than what you thought. You had a 3-point spread. It was a 2-point spread, but that's still pretty good.
Yeah.
I remember you were debating the Chargers game, and you're like, Chiefs, and then you said Chargers, man. That's an upset. I wouldn't call it an upset. I think this rivalry is going to be probably not quite on the level as like Brady and Manning, but you got two reasonably young quarterbacks in the AFC West there, so I think it'll be fun for the next at least 5 to 7 years while they're both there.
Oh yeah, yeah. And how
Yeah,
about you? How did you fare this week?
I ain't do too good. 1-2. So I predicted the Bucks would beat the Rams 38-35. The Bucks actually lost 24-34. I predicted the Cowboys would beat the Eagles 24-21. I got it right. They won 41-21. I got the Eagles score right. I predicted the Vikings would lose to the Seahawks 31-24. They beat the Seahawks 17-30. So, a little down on our home team there, but it is what it is. I'm not upset or mad about it. I did what I could with the information I had.
Right.
Let's see. I guess the next thing we got is we got predictions for next week. We got Panthers at Cowboys, Cardinals at Rams, and Steelers at Packers.
So I'm going to say that it'll be the Cowboys over the Panthers, unless if the Panthers, come to play. I mean, Dallas is going to be their best competition so far this year. I'm going to say it's going to be 28-24 in favor of the Cowboys. And then I'm going to take the Rams over Arizona. And I'm going to say that one will be 24-17. And then Packers at Steelers. I'm going to go with my Packers over the Steelers, and I'm going to say it's going to be 21-10.
21. Okay. So I've got Seahawks at 49ers, Raiders at Chargers, and Vikings at Browns. I guess I'll start with the Seahawks at 49ers. So this used to be like one of my favorite games of the year back in like early 2010s. Seahawks are 1-2. I think the 49ers are 2-1. I think the 49ers probably have the edge up front, as far as like the defensive and offensive lines go. So I'm gonna say they probably win this game 27-17 against the Seahawks. For Raiders at Chargers on Monday Night Football, I don't think anyone envisioned the Raiders going 3-0 this year. Or the Chargers, I think they're 2-1. So I don't think anyone envisioned that. But I think Derek Carr is probably going to outlast Justin Herbert, and this will be. I'm going to say 31-28 Raiders.
So predicting the Raiders to. Dang. I mean, Raiders have looked
never
good
thought
in their games.
Yeah, I mean they played them. They haven't played any scrubs either, So it'll be close, I think. Let's see what else. What else I got here? I'm trying to think for this last game. Vikings at Browns. So personally, I like Zimmer, but the Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski probably should have been our head coach. We probably should let Zimmer go after we lost in the NFC Championship game a couple of years ago. But Kirk Cousins is playing out of his mind. Baker Mayfield tends to get rattled with like rowdy crowds and stuff. So I'm gonna say the Browns do have to come to Minnesota. So I'm gonna say the Vikings win this one 31-14.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I could see a blowout.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say the Browns are like overhyped, but I think that he probably need to be like taken down a peg. So, yeah, we'll see. I think it'll be a good game. I usually watch them, even though it's probably not good for my heart, or it's stressful watching the Vikings play sometimes. But
Right.
yeah,
Right.
and I think that's pretty much it that I had on the agenda. You have anything else you want to cover?
Not that I can think of right now. We'll see if, like I said, we'll see if the Panthers can go to 4-0. But the Panthers have kind of played bottom half teams. The Cowboys' defense has looked much improved from the past 4 or 5 years.
Right. I will say, I guess I think the Broncos are still undefeated. I'll say this: I think they're probably one of the ugliest 3-0 teams I've ever seen. You know what their opponents like combined win-loss record is for the year?
0-9.
Mm-hmm. So
Yeah,
I don't
they
know if
played
they're.
Giants, Jets, and
I think
Falcons.
Jacksonville or one of it.
Or
Yeah, maybe
Jacksonville.
one of the two is one of the seller of the league team. So yeah, I like Teddy. Teddy's my guy, but I don't think they're a legit 3-0 team. I think had they played, some of those more difficult teams at the beginning of their schedule, they probably be sitting at 0-3 now. But
I don't know.
yeah,
We'll see. They got the Ravens this week, so there's a good chance they'll be 4-0.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it seems like every week's a toss-up with Baltimore because they literally have no skill players left. So yeah, I'm with you. We'll see how it goes, and
Yeah, I mean, could be much improved because I think Rashad Bateman and Miles Boykin got taken off IR, so they're both projected to play this week.
for the Ravens, so what's that? 2 down and like 20 to go.
Don't know how many's to go, but yeah, it's still a good amount.
Yeah, they got a lot. We talked about. I'm scared to look at their injury report. I think it was when I looked at it like the first week. I think there were like 14 players on there. injury report, and 5 or 6 for them for the season. So,
Yeah.
well, I guess that's gonna be the end of this episode. A little short this week, but it's the fourth week of the NFL, our third episode. It's not a ton going on in the league just yet. Yeah. So if you got any questions, like I say after every episode, go ahead and leave us a voicemail. We'll be more than happy to listen to it on air and answer some questions or listen to some hot takes. As always, I'm Montel. That's Jon, and we appreciate you tuning in.
All right. Until next week, everybody. Take care.